Good morning, welcome. Let's go to the Lord in prayer. Father, we thank you for your grace toward us and for your word. And we pray that you would help us as we read it together to hear your voice, to know and love you, to walk in obedience to all you've called us to. In Jesus' name, amen. Numbers 22. The Israelites traveled on and camped in the plains of Moab near the Jordan across from Jericho. Now Balak, son of Zippor, saw all that Israel had done to the Amorites. Moab was terrified of the people because they were numerous, and Moab dreaded the Israelites. So the Moabites said to the elders of Midian, "This horde will devour everything around us like an ox eats up the green plants in the field." Since Balak, son of Zippor, was Moab's king at that time, he sent messengers to Balaam, son of Beor, at Pethor, which is by the Euphrates, in the land of his people. Balak said to him, "Look, a people has come out of Egypt. They cover the surface of the land and are living right across from me. Please, come put a curse on these people for me, because they are more powerful than I am. I may be able to defeat them and drive them out of the land, for I know that those you bless are blessed, and those you curse are cursed." The elders of Moab and Midian departed with fees for divination in hand. They came to Balaam and reported Balak's words to him. He said to them, "Spend the night here, and I will give you the answer the Lord tells me." So the officials of Moab stayed with Balaam. Then God came to Balaam and asked, "Who are these men with you?" Balaam replied to God, "Balak, son of Zippor, king of Moab, sent me this message to me. Look, a people has come out of Egypt, and they covered the surface of the land. Now come and put a curse on them for me. I may be able to fight against them and drive them away." Then God said to Balaam, "You are not to go with them. You are not to curse this people, for they are blessed." So Balaam got up the next morning and said to Balak's officials, "Go back to your land, because the Lord has refused to let me go with you." The officials of Moab arose, returned to Balak, and reported, "Balaam refused to come with us." Balak sent officials again, who were more numerous and higher in rank than the others. They came to Balaam and said to him, "This is what Balak, son of Zippor, says. Let nothing keep you from coming to me, for I will greatly honor you and do whatever you ask me. So please come and put a curse on these people for me." But Balaam responded to the servants of Balak, "If Balak were to give me his house full of silver and gold, I could not go against the command of the Lord my God to do anything small or great. Please, stay here overnight as the others did, so that I may find out what else the Lord has to tell me." God came to Balaam at night and said to him, "Since these men have come to summon you, get up and go with them, but you must only do what I tell you." When he got up in the morning, Balaam saddled his donkey and went with the officials of Moab. But God was incensed that Balaam was going, and the angel of the Lord took his stand on the path to oppose him. Balaam was riding his donkey, and his 2 servants were with him. When the donkey saw the angel of the Lord standing on the path with a drawn sword in his hand, she turned off the path and went into the field. So Balaam hit her to return her to the path. Then the angel of the Lord stood in a narrow passage between the vineyards with a stone wall on either side. The donkey saw the angel of the Lord and pressed herself against the wall, squeezing Balaam's foot against it. So he hit her once again. The angel of the Lord went ahead and stood in a narrow place where there was no room to turn to the right or the left. When the donkey saw the angel of the Lord, she crouched down under Balaam. So he became furious and beat the donkey with his stick. Then the Lord opened the donkey's mouth, and she asked Balaam, "What have I done to you that you have beaten me these 3 times?" Balaam answered the donkey, "You've made me look like a fool. If I had a sword in my hand, I'd kill you now." The donkey said, "Am I not the donkey you've ridden all your life until today? Have I ever treated you this way before?" "No," he replied. Then the Lord opened Balaam's eyes, and he saw the angel of the Lord standing in the path with a drawn sword in his hand. Balaam knelt low, and bowed in worship on his face. The angel of the Lord asked him, "Why have you beaten your donkey these 3 times?" "Look, I came out to oppose you because I consider what you are doing to be evil." The donkey saw me and turned away from me these 3 times. If she had not turned away from me, I would have killed you by now and let her live." Balaam said to the angel of the Lord, "I have sinned, for I did not know that you were standing in the path to confront me. And now, if it is evil in your sight, I will go back." And the angel of the Lord said to Balaam, "Go with the men, but you are to say only what I tell you." So Balaam went with Balak's officials. When Balak heard that Balaam was coming, he went out to meet him at the Moabite city on the Arnon border at the edge of his territory. Balak asked Balaam, "Did I not send you an urgent summons? Why didn't you come to me? Am I really not able to reward you?" Balaam said to him, "Look, I have come to you, but can I say anything I want? I must speak only the message God puts in my mouth." So Balaam went with Balak, and they came to Kiriath-Huzoth. Balak sacrificed cattle, sheep, and goats, and sent for Balaam and the officials who were with him. In the morning Balak took Balaam and brought him to Bamoth Baal. From there he saw the outskirts of the people's camp. Numbers 23. Then Balaam said to Balak, "Build me 7 altars here, and prepare 7 bulls and 7 rams for me." So Balak did as Balaam directed, and they offered a bull and a ram on each altar. Balaam said to Balak, "Stay here by your burnt offering while I'm gone. Maybe the Lord will meet with me. I will tell you whatever he reveals to me." So he went to a barren hill. God met with him, and Balaam said to him, "I have arranged 7 altars and offered a bull and a ram on each altar." Then the Lord put a message in Balaam's mouth, and he said, "Return to Balak and say what I tell you." So he returned to Balak, who was standing there by his burnt offering with all the officials of Moab. Balaam proclaimed his poem, "Balak brought me from Aram, the king of Moab, from the eastern mountains. Come, put a curse on Jacob for me. Come, denounce Israel." How can I curse someone God has not cursed? How can I denounce someone the Lord has not denounced? I see them from the top of rocky cliffs, and I watch them from the hills. There is a people living alone. It does not consider itself among the nations. Who has counted the dust of Jacob, or numbered even 1/4 of Israel? Let me die the death of the upright. Let the end of my life be like theirs. "What have you done to me?" Balak asked Balaam. "I brought you to curse my enemies, but look, you have only blessed them." He answered, "Shouldn't I say exactly what the Lord puts in my mouth?" Then Balak said to him, "Please come with me to another place where you can see them. You will only see the outskirts of their camp. You won't see them all. From there, put a curse on them for me." So Balak took him to the lookout field on top of Pisgah, built 7 altars, and offered a bull and a ram on each altar. Balaam said to Balak, "Stay here by your burnt offering while I seek the Lord over there." The Lord met with Balaam and put a message in his mouth. And then he said, "Return to Balak and say what I tell you." So he returned to Balak, who was standing there by his burnt offering with the officials of Moab. Balak asked him, "What did the Lord say?" Balaam proclaimed his poem. "Balak, get up and listen. Son of Zippor, pay attention to what I say. God is not a man that he might lie, or a son of man that he might change his mind. Does he speak and not act, or promise and not fulfill? I have indeed received a command to bless, and since he has blessed, I cannot change it. He considers no disaster for Jacob. He sees no trouble for Israel. The Lord their God is with them, and there is rejoicing over the king among them. God brought them out of Egypt. He is like the horns of a wild ox for them. There is no magic curse against Jacob, and no divination against Israel. It will now be said about Jacob and Israel, what great things God has done. A people rise up like a lioness. They rouse themselves like a lion. They will not lie down until they devour the prey and drink the blood of the slain." Then Balak told Balaam, "Don't curse them and don't bless them." But Balaam answered him, "Didn't I tell you, whatever the Lord says, I must do?" Again, Balak said to Balaam, "Please come. I will take you to another place. Maybe it will be agreeable to God that you can put a curse on them for me there." So Balak took Balaam to the top of Peor, which overlooks the wasteland. Balaam told Balak, "Build me 7 altars here, and prepare 7 bulls and 7 rams for me." So Balak did as Balaam said, and offered a bull and a ram on each altar. Numbers 24. Since Balaam saw that it pleased the Lord to bless Israel, he did not go to seek omens as on previous occasions, but turned toward the wilderness. When Balaam looked up and saw Israel encamped tribe by tribe, the Spirit of God came on him, and he proclaimed his poem. The oracle of Balaam, son of Beor, the oracle of a man whose eyes are opened, the oracle of one who hears the sayings of God, who sees a vision from the Almighty, who falls into a trance with his eyes uncovered. How beautiful are your tents, Jacob, your dwellings, Israel. They stretch out like river valleys, like gardens beside a stream. Like aloes the Lord has planted, like cedars beside the water. Water will flow from his buckets, and his seed will be by abundant water. His king will be greater than Agag, and his kingdom will be exalted. God brought him out of Egypt. He is like the horns of a wild ox for them. He will feed them on enemy nations and gnaw their bones. He will strike them with his arrows. He crouches, he lies down like a lion or a lioness. Who dares rouse him? Those who bless you will be blessed, and those who curse you will be cursed. Then Balak became furious with Balaam, struck his hands together, and said to him, "I summoned you to put a curse on my enemies, but instead you have blessed them these 3 times. Now go to your home. I said I would reward you richly, but look, the Lord has denied you a reward." Balaam answered Balak, "Didn't I previously tell the messengers you sent me, if Balak were to give me his house full of silver and gold, I could not go against the Lord's command to do anything good or bad of my own will? I will say whatever the Lord says. Now I am going back to my people, but first let me warn you what these people will do to your people in the future." Then he proclaimed his poem, the oracle of Balaam, son of Beor, the oracle of man whose eyes are opened, the oracle of one who hears the sayings of God and has knowledge from the Most High, who sees a vision from the Almighty, who falls into a trance with his eyes uncovered. I see him, but not now. I perceive him, but not near. A star will come from Jacob, and a scepter will arise from Israel. He will smash the forehead of Moab and strike down all the Shethites. Edom will become a possession. Seir will become a possession of its enemies, but Israel will be triumphant. One who comes from Jacob will rule. He will destroy the city's survivors. Then Balaam saw Amalek and proclaimed his poem. Amalek was first among the nations, but his future is destruction. Next he saw the Kenites and proclaimed his poem. Your dwelling place is enduring. Your nest is set in the cliffs. Cain will be destroyed when Asher takes you captive. Once more he proclaimed his poem. Who can live when God does this? Ships will come from the coast of Kittim. They will carry out raids against Asher and Eber, but they too will come to destruction. Balaam then arose, went back to his homeland, and Balak also went on his way. Numbers 25. While Israel was staying in the acacia grove, the people began to prostitute themselves with the women of Moab. The women invited them to the sacrifices for their gods, and the people ate and bowed in worship to their gods. So Israel aligned itself with Baal of Peor, and the Lord's anger burned against Israel. The Lord said to Moses, "Take all the leaders of the people and execute them in broad daylight before the Lord, so that his burning anger may turn away from Israel." So Moses told Israel's judges, "Kill each of the men who aligned themselves with Baal of Peor." An Israelite man came, bringing a Midianite woman to his relatives in the sight of Moses and the whole Israelite community, while they were weeping at the entrance to the tent of meeting. When Phinehas, son of Eleazar, son of Aaron the priest, saw this, he got up from the assembly, took a spear in his hand, followed the Israelite man into the tent, and drove it through both the Israelite man and the woman, through her belly. Then the plague on the Israelites was stopped, but those who died in the plague numbered 24,000. The Lord spoke to Moses, Phinehas, son of Eleazar, son of Aaron the priest, has turned back my wrath from the Israelites, because he was zealous among them with my zeal, so that I did not destroy the Israelites in my zeal. Therefore declare, I grant him my covenant of peace. It will be a covenant of perpetual priesthood for him and his future descendants, because he was zealous for his God and made atonement for the Israelites. The name of the slain Israelite man who was struck dead with the Midianite woman was Zimri, son of Salu, the leader of a Simeonite family. The name of the slain Midianite woman was Cosbi, the daughter of Zur, a tribal head of a family in Midian. The Lord told Moses, attack the Midianites and strike them dead, for they attacked you with the treachery that they used against you in the Peor incident. They did the same in the case involving their sister Cosbi, daughter of the Midianite leader, who was killed the day the plague came at Peor. Numbers 26. After the plague, the Lord said to Moses and Eleazar, son of Aaron the priest, take a census of the entire Israelite community by their ancestral families, of those 20 years older or more who can serve in Israel's army. So Moses and the priest Eleazar said to them in the plains of Moab, by the Jordan across from Jericho, take a census of those 20 years old or more, as the Lord has commanded Moses and the Israelites who came out of the land of Egypt. Reuben was the firstborn of Israel. Reuben's descendants, the Hanokite clan from Hanok, the Paluite clan from Palu, the Hezronite clan from Hezron, the Carmite clan from Carmi. These were Reubenite clans, and they registered men numbered 43,730. The son of Palu was Eliab. The son of Eliab was Nemuel, Dathan, and Abiram. It was Dathan and Abiram chosen by the community who fought against Moses and Aaron. They and Korah's followers fought against the Lord. The earth opened its mouth and swallowed them with Korah when his followers died, and the fire consumed 250 men. They serve as a warning sign. The sons of Korah, however, did not die. Simeon's descendants by their clans: the Nemuelite clan from Nemuel, the Jaminite clan from Jamin, the Jachinite clan from Jachin, the Zerahite clan from Zerah, the Shaulite clan from Shaul. These were Simeonite clans numbering 22,200 men. Gad's descendants by their clans: the Zephonite clan from Zephon, the Haggite clan from Haggai, the Shunite clan from Shuni, the Oznite clan from Ozni, the Arite clan from Eri, the Aradite clan from Arad, the Aralite clan from Arali. These were the Gadite clans numbered by their registered men, 40,500. Judah's sons included and Onan, but they died in the land of Canaan. Judah's descendants by their clans: from the Shelonite clan from Shelah, the Perizzite clan from Perez, the Zerahite clan from Zerah, the descendants of Perez, the Hezronite clan from Hezron, the Hamulite clan from Hamul. These were Judah's clans numbered by their registered men, 76,500. Issachar's descendants by their clans: the Tolahite clan from Tola, the Punite clan from Puvah, Jashubite clan from Jashub, the Shimronite clan from Shimron. These were Issachar's clans numbered by their registered men, 64,300. Zebulun's descendants by their clans: the Saradite clan from Sarad, the Elonite clan from Elon, the Jaelite clan from Jaleel. These were the Zebulunite clans numbered by their registered men, 60,500. Joseph's descendants by their clans: from Manasseh and Ephraim. Manasseh's descendants, the Machirite clan from Machir. Machir followed Gilead, the Gileadite clan from Gilead. These were Gilead's descendants: the Izerite clan from Izer, the Helekite clan from Helek, the Azraelite clan from Azrael, the Shechemite clan from Shechem, the Shemidiate, from Shemida, the Hephraite clan from Hepher. Zelophehad, son of Hepher, had no sons, only daughters. The names of Zelophehad's daughters were Mahlah, Noah, Hoglah, Milcah, and Tirzah. These were Manasseh's clans, numbered by their registered men, 52,700. These were Ephraim's descendants by their clans: the Shuthelahite clan from Shuthelah, the Becherite clan from Becher, the Tahanite clan from Tahan. These were Shuthelah's descendants, the Aaronite clan from Aram. These were the Ephraimite clans, numbered by their registered men, 32,500. These were Joseph's descendants by their clans. Benjamin's descendants by their clans: the Belite clan from Bela, the Ashbelite clan from Ashbel, the Ahiramite clan from Ahiram, the Shuphamite clan from Shupham, the Huphamite clan from Hupham. Bela's descendants from Ard and Naaman, the Ardite clan from Ard, the Naamanite clan from Naaman. These were the Benjamite clans by their registered men, 45,600. These were Dan's descendants by their clans, the Shuhamite clan from Shuham. These were the clans of Dan by their clans. All the Shuhamite clans numbered by their registered men, 64,400. Asher's descendants by their clans, the Imnite clan from Imnah, the Ishvite clan from Ishvi, the Berite clan from Beriah. From Beriah's descendants, the Heberite clan from Heber, the Malchielite clan from Malchiel, and the name of Asher's daughter was Sarah. These were the Asherite clans numbered by their registered men, 53,400. Naphtali's descendants by their clans, the Jahzeelite clan from Jahzeel, the Gunite clan from Guni, the Jezerite clan from Jezer, the Shilamite clan from Shillam. These were the Naphtali clans numbered by their registered men, 45,400. These registered Israelite men numbered 601,730. The Lord spoke to Moses, "The land is to be divided among them as an inheritance based on the number of names. Increase the inheritance for a large tribe and decrease it for a small one. Each is to be given its inheritance according to those who are registered in it. The land is to be divided by lot. They will receive an inheritance according to the names of their ancestral tribes. Each inheritance will be divided by lot among the larger and smaller tribes." These were the Levites registered by their clans, the Gershonite clan from Gershon, the Kohathite clan from Kohath, the Merarite clan from Merari. These were the Levite family groups, the Libnite clan, the Hebronite clan, the Mahlite clan, the Mushite clan, and the Korahite clan. Kohath was the ancestor of Amram. The name of Amram's wife was Jochebed, a descendant of Levi, born to Levi in Egypt. She bore to Amram Aaron, Moses, and their sister Miriam. Nadab, Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar were born to Aaron, but Nadab and Abihu died when they presented unauthorized fire before the Lord. Those registered were 23,000, every male 1 month old or more. They were not registered among the other Israelites because no inheritance was given to them among the Israelites. These were the ones registered by Moses and the priest Eleazar when they registered the Israelites on the plains of Moab by the Jordan across from Jericho. But among them there was not one of those who had been registered by Moses and the priest Aaron when they registered the Israelites in the wilderness of Sinai. For the Lord had said to them that they would all die in the wilderness. None of them was left except Caleb son of Jephunneh and Joshua son of Nun.
Numbers chapter 27. The daughters of Zelophehad approached. Zelophehad was the son of Epher and son of Gilead, son of Machir, son of Manasseh, from the clans of Manasseh, the son of Joseph. These were the names of the daughters: Maliah, Noah, Hoglah, Milcah, and Tirzah. They stood before Moses, the priest of Eleazar, the leaders, and the entire community at the entrance to the tent of meeting and said, "Our father died in the wilderness, but he is not among Korah's followers who gathered together against the Lord. Instead, he died because of his own sin, and he had no sons. Why should the name of our father be taken away from his clan? Since he had no son, give us property among our father's brothers." Moses brought their case before the Lord, and the Lord answered him, "What Zelophehad's daughters say is correct. You are to give them hereditary property among their father's brothers and transfer their father's inheritance to them. Tell the Israelites, when a man dies without having a son, transfer his inheritance to his daughter. If he has no daughter, give his inheritance to his brothers. If he has no brothers, give his inheritance to his father's brother. If his father has no brothers, give his inheritance to the nearest relative of his clan, and he will take possession of it. This is to be the statutory ordinance for the Israelites as the Lord commanded Moses." Then the Lord said to Moses, "Go up this mountain of the Abarim range and see the land that I have given the Israelites. After you have seen it, you will also be gathered to your people, as Aaron's brother was. When the community quarreled in the wilderness of Zin, both of you rebelled against my command to demonstrate my holiness in their sight at the waters. Those were the waters of Meribah Kadesh in the wilderness of Zin. So Moses appealed to the Lord, "May the Lord, the God who gives breath to all, appoint a man over the community who will go out before the men and come back in before them, and who will bring them out and bring them in, so that the Lord's community won't be like the sheep without a shepherd." The Lord replied to Moses, "Take Joshua the son of Nun, a man who has the Spirit in him, and lay your hands on him. Have him stand before the priests of Eleazar and the whole community, and commission him there in the sight. Confer some of your authority on him, so that the entire Israelite community will obey him. He will stand before the priest Eleazar, who will consult the Lord for him with the decision of the Urim, and he and all the Israelites with him. Even the entire community will go out and come back in at his command." Moses did as the Lord commanded him. He took Joshua, had him stand before the priest Eleazar and the entire community, laid his hands on him, and commissioned him as the Lord has spoken through Moses. Numbers 28. The Lord spoke to Moses, "Command the Israelites and say to them, be sure to present me at its appointed time my offering and my food as my fire offering, a pleasing aroma to me, and say to them, this is the fire offering you are to present to the Lord. Each day present 2 unblemished year-old male lambs as a regular burnt offering. Offer 1 lamb in the morning and the other lamb at twilight, along with 2 quarts of fine flour for a grain offering mixed with a quart of olive oil from crushed olives. It is a regular burnt offering established at Mount Sinai for a pleasing aroma, a fire offering to the Lord. The drink offering is to be a quart with each lamb. Pour out the offering of beer to the Lord in the sanctuary area. Offer the second lamb at twilight along with the same kind of grain offering and drink offering as in the morning. It is a fire offering, a pleasing aroma to the Lord. On the Sabbath day, present 2 unblemished year-old male lambs, 4 quarts of fine flour mixed with oil as a grain offering and as drink offering. It is the burnt offering for every Sabbath, in addition to the regular burnt offering and its drink offering. At the beginning of each of your months, present a burnt offering to the Lord, 2 young bulls, 1 ram, 7 male lambs, a year old, all unblemished, with 6 quarts of fine flour mixed with oil as a grain offering for each bull, 4 quarts and fine flour mixed with oil as a grain offering for the ram, and 2 quarts of fine flour mixed with oil as a grain offering for each lamb. It is a burnt offering, a pleasing aroma, a fire offering to the Lord. Their drink offerings are to be 2 quarts of wine with each bull, 1 1/3 quarts with the ram, and 1 quart with each male lamb. This is the monthly burnt offering for the months of the year. And 1 male goat is to be offered as a sin offering to the Lord, in addition to the regular burnt offering with its drink offering. The Passover to the Lord comes in the first month on the 14th day of the month. On the 15th day of the month, there will be a festival. Unleavened bread is to be eaten for 7 days. On the first day, there will be a sacred assembly. You are not to do any daily work. Present a fire offering, a burnt offering to the Lord, 2 young bulls, 1 ram, 7 male lambs a year old. Your animals are to be unblemished. The grain offering with them is to be of fine flour mixed with oil. Offer 6 quarts with each bull and 4 quarts with the ram. Offer 2 quarts with each of the 7 lambs and 1 male goat for a sin offering to make an atonement for yourselves. Offer these with the morning burnt offering that is a part of the regular burnt offering. You are to offer the same food each day for 7 days as a fire offering and a pleasing aroma to the Lord. It is to be offered with its drink offering and the regular burnt offering. On the 7th day, you are to hold a sacred assembly. You are not to do any daily work. On the day of first fruits, you are to hold a sacred assembly. When you are when you present an offering of new grain to the Lord at your festival of weeks. You are not to do any daily work. Present a burnt offering for a pleasing aroma to the Lord, 2 young bulls, 1 ram, 7 male lambs a year old, with their grain offering of fine flour mixed with oil, 6 quarts with each bull, 4 quarts with the ram, and 2 quarts with each of the 7 lambs, and 1 male goat to make atonement for yourselves. Offer them with their drink offering in addition to the regular burnt offering and its grain offering. Your animals are to be unblemished. Numbers 29. You are to hold a sacred assembly in the 7th month on the 1st day of the month, and you are not to do any daily work. This will be a day of trumpet blast for you. Offer a burnt offering as a pleasing aroma to the Lord, 1 young bull, 1 ram, 7 male lambs a year old, all unblemished, with their grain offering and fine flour mixed with oil, 6 quarts with the bull, 4 quarts with the ram, and 2 quarts with each of the 7 male lambs. Also offer 1 male goat as a sin offering to make atonement for yourselves. These are in addition to the monthly and regular burnt offerings with their prescribed grain offerings and drink offerings. They are a pleasing aroma, a fire offering to the Lord. You are to hold a sacred assembly on the 10th day of the 7th month and practice self-denial. Do not do any work. Present a burnt offering to the Lord, a pleasing aroma, 1 young bull, 1 ram, and 7 male lambs a year old. All your animals are to be unblemished. Their grain offering is to be of fine flour mixed with oil, 6 quarts with the bull, 4 quarts with the lamb, with the ram, 2 quarts with each of the 7 lambs. Offer 1 male goat for a sin offering. The regular burnt offering with its grain offering and a drink offering are in addition to the sin offering of atonement. You are to hold a sacred assembly on the 15th day of the 7th month. You do not do any daily work. You are to celebrate a 7-day festival for the Lord. Present a burnt offering, a fire offering as a pleasing aroma to the Lord. 13 young bulls, 2 rams, and 14 male lambs a year old. They are to be unblemished. Their grain offering is to be a fine flour mixed with oil, 6 quarts with each of the 13 bulls, 4 quarts with each of the 2 rams, and 2 quarts with each of the 14 lambs. Also offer 1 male goat as a sin offering. These are in addition to the regular burnt offering with its grain and drink offerings. On the 2nd day, present 12 young bulls, 2 rams, 14 male lambs a year old, all unblemished, with their grain and drink offerings for the bulls, rams, and lambs in the proportion to their number. Also offer 1 male goat as a sin offering. These are in addition to the regular burnt offering with its grain and their drink offerings. On the 3rd day, present 11 bulls, 2 rams, 14 male lambs a year old, all unblemished, with their grain and drink offerings for the bulls, rams, lambs, in proportion to their number. Also offer 1 male goat as a sin offering. These are in addition to the regular burnt offering with its grain and drink offerings. On the 4th day, present 10 bulls, 2 rams, 14 male lambs a year old, all unblemished, with their grain and drink offerings for the bulls, rams, and lambs in proportion to their number. Also offer 1 male goat as a sin offering. These are in addition to the regular burnt offering with its grain and drink offerings. On the 5th day, present 9 bulls, 2 rams, 14 male lambs a year old, all unblemished, with their grain and drink offerings for the bulls, rams, and lambs in the proportion to their number. Also offer 1 male goat as a sin offering. These are in addition to the regular burnt offering and with its grain and drink offerings. On the 6th day, present 8 bulls, 2 rams, 14 male lambs a year old, all unblemished, with their grain and drink offerings for the bulls, rams, and lambs in proportion to their number. Also offer 1 male goat as a sin offering. These are in addition to the regular burnt offering with its grain and drink offerings. On the seventh day, present 7 bulls, 2 rams, 14 male lambs a year old, all unblemished, with their grain and drink offerings for the bulls, rams, and lambs in proportion to their number. Also offer 1 male goat as a sin offering. These are in addition to the regular burnt offering with its grain and drink offerings. On the 8th day, you are to hold a solemn assembly. You are not to do any daily work. Present a burnt offering, a fire offering as a pleasing aroma to the Lord, 1 bull, 1 ram, 7 male lambs a year old, all unblemished, with their grain and drink offerings for the bulls, rams, and lambs in proportion to the number. Also offer 1 male goat as a sin offering. These are in addition to the regular burnt offering with its grain and drink offerings. Offer these to the Lord at your appointed times, in addition to your vow and a freewill offering, whether burnt, grain, drink, or fellowship offerings. So Moses told the Israelites everything the Lord had commanded him. Numbers chapter 30. Moses told the leaders of the Israelite tribes, "This is what the Lord has commanded. When a man makes a vow to the Lord or swears an oath to put himself under obligation, he must not break his word. He must do whatever he has promised. When a woman in her father's house during her youth makes a vow to the Lord or puts herself under an obligation, and her father hears about her vow or the obligation she put herself under, and he says nothing to her, all her vows and every obligation she put herself under are binding. But if her father prohibits her on that day, he hears about it. On the day he hears about it, none of her vows and none of the obligations she put herself under are binding. The Lord will release her because her father has prohibited her. If a man marries if a woman marries while her vows or the vows or commitment she herself made are binding, and her husband hears about it and says nothing to her when he finds her, her vows are binding, and the obligation she put herself under are binding. But if her husband prohibits her when he hears about it, he will cancel her vow that is binding or the rash commitment she herself made, and the Lord will release her. Every vow a widow or divorced woman puts herself under is binding on her. If a woman in her husband's house has made a vow or put herself under an obligation with an oath, and her husband hears about it, says nothing to her, and does not prohibit her, all her vows are binding, and every obligation she put herself under is binding. But if her husband cancels on that day, he hears about it, and nothing that came from her lips, whether her vows or her obligation, is binding. Her husband has canceled them, and the Lord will release her. Her husband may confirm or cancel any vow or any sworn obligation to deny herself. If her husband says nothing at all to her from the day to day, he confirms all her vows and obligations which are binding. He has confirmed them because he has said nothing to her when he has heard about them. But if he cancels them after he hears about them, he will be responsible for her commitment. These are the statutes that the Lord commanded Moses concerning the relationship between a man and his wife, or between a father and his daughter in his house during her youth. Numbers chapter 31. The Lord spoke to Moses, "Execute vengeance for the Israelites against the Midianites. After that you will be gathered to your people." So Moses spoke to the people, "Equip some of your men for war. They will go against Midian to inflict the Lord's vengeance on them. Send 1,000 men to war from each Israelite tribe." So 1,000 were recruited from each Israelite tribe out of the thousands in Israel, 12,000 equipped for war. Moses sent 1,000 from each tribe to war. They went to Phinehas, the son of Eleazar the priest, in whose care were the holy object and signal trumpets. They waged war against Midian as the Lord had commanded Moses and killed every male. Along with the others slain by them, they killed the Midian kings, Evi, Rechem, Zur, Hur, and Reba, the 5 kings of Midian. They also killed Balaam, son of Beor, with the sword. The Israelites took the Midian women and their dependents captive, and they plundered all their cattle, flocks, and property. Then they burned all the cities where the Midians lived, as well as their encampments, and took away all the spoils of war and the captives, both people and animals. They brought the prisoners, animals, and the spoils of war to Moses and the priest Eleazar and the Israelite company at the camp on the plains of Moab by the Jordan across from Jericho. Moses, the priest Eleazar, and all the leaders of the community went to meet them outside the camp. Moses became furious with the officers, the commanders of thousands and the commanders of hundreds who were returning from the military campaign. "Have you let every female live?" he asked them. Yet they are the ones who, at Balaam's advice, incited the Israelites to unfaithfulness against the Lord in Peor incident, so that the plague came against the Lord's community. So now kill every male among the dependents and kill every woman who has gone to bed with the man. But keep alive for yourselves all the young females who have not gone to bed with the man. You are to remain outside the camp for 7 days. All of you and your prisoners who have killed a person or touched the dead are to purify yourselves on the 3rd day and the 7th day. Also purify everything, garments, leather goods, things made of goat hair, and every article of wood. Then the priest Eleazar said to the soldiers who had gone to battle, "This is the legal statute the Lord commanded Moses. The gold, silver, bronze, iron, tin, and lead, everything that can withstand fire, you are to pass through fire, and it will be clean. It must still be purified with the purification water. Anything that cannot withstand fire passes through the water. On the 7th day, wash your clothes, and you will be clean. After that, you may enter the camp." The Lord told Moses, "You, the priest Eleazar, and the family heads of the community are to count of what was captured, people and animals. Then divide the captives between the troops who went out to war and the entire community. Set aside a tribute for the Lord from what belongs to the fighting men who went out to war. 1 out of every 500 people, cattle, donkeys, sheep, and goats. Take the tribute from the half and give it to the priest Eleazar as a contribution to the Lord. From the Israelites' half, take 1 out of every 50 from the people, cattle, donkeys, sheep, and goats, and all the livestock, and give them to the Levites who perform the duties of the Lord's tabernacle." So Moses and the priest Eleazar did as the Lord commanded Moses. The captives remaining from the plunder the army had taken totaled 675,000 sheep and goats, 72,000 cattle, 61,000 donkeys, and 32,000 people, all the females who had not gone to bed with the man. The half proportion for those who went out to war numbered 337,500 sheep and goats, and the tribute to the Lord was 675 from the sheep and the goats. From the 36,000 cattle, the tribute to the Lord was 72. From the 30,500 donkeys, the tribute to the Lord was 61. And from the 16,000 people, the tribute to the Lord was 32. Moses gave the tribute to the priest Eleazar as a contribution for the Lord, as the Lord had commanded Moses. From the Israelites' half, which Moses separated the men who fought, the community's half was 337,500 sheep and goats, 36,000 cattle, 30,500 donkeys, and 16,000 people, Moses took one out of every 50 selected from the people and the livestock of the Israelites half. He gave them to the Levites who performed the duties of the Lord's tabernacle as the Lord had commanded him. The officers who were over the thousands of the army, the commanders of thousands and of hundreds, approached Moses and told him, "Your servants have taken a census of the fighting men under our command, and not one of us is missing. So we have presented to the Lord an offering of the gold articles each man found, armlets, bracelets, rings, earrings, and necklaces, to make atonement for ourselves before the Lord." Moses and the priest Eleazar received from them all the articles made of gold. All the gold of the contribution they offered to the Lord from the commanders of thousands and hundreds was 420 pounds. Each of the soldiers had taken plunder for himself. Moses and the priest Eleazar received the gold from the commanders of thousands and of hundreds and brought it into the tent of meeting as a memorial for the Israelites before the Lord. Numbers chapter 32. The Reubenites and Gadites had a very large number of livestock. When they surveyed the lands of Jazer and Gilead, they saw that the region was good for livestock. So the Gadites, the Reubenites, came to Moses, the priest Eleazar, and the leaders of the community and said, "The territory of Adaroth, Dibion, Jazer, Nimrah, Heshbon, Eliah, Seben, Nebo, and Beon, which the Lord struck down before the community of Israel, is good land for livestock, and your servants own livestock." They said, "If we have found favor with you, let this land be given to your servants as a possession. Don't make us cross the Jordan." But Moses asked the Gadites and Reubenites, "Should your brothers go to war while you stay here? Why are you discouraging the Israelites from crossing into the land the Lord has given them? That's what your fathers did when I sent them from Kadesh Barnea to see the land. After they went up as far as Esco Valley and saw the land, they discouraged the Israelites from entering the land the Lord had given them. So the Lord's anger burned that day, and he swore an oath because they did not remain loyal to me. None of the men of 20 years old or more who came up from Egypt will see the land I swore to give Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. None except Caleb, son of Jephunneh, the Kenizzite, and Joshua, son of Nun, because they did remain loyal to the Lord. The Lord's anger burned against Israel, and he made them wander in the wilderness 40 years until the whole generation that had done what was evil in the Lord's sight was gone. And here you, a brood of sinners, stand in your father's place, adding even more to the Lord's burning anger against Israel. If you turn back from following him, he will once again leave this people in the wilderness, and you will destroy all of them." Then they approached him and said, "We want to build sheep pens here for our livestock and cities for our dependents, but we will arm ourselves and be ready to go ahead of the Israelites until we have brought them into their place. Meanwhile, our dependents will remain in the fortified cities because of the inhabitants of the land. We will not return to our homes until each of the Israelites has taken possession of his inheritance. Yet we will not have any inheritance with them across the Jordan and beyond, because our inheritance will be across the Jordan to the east." Moses replied to them, "If you do this, if you arm yourselves for battle before the Lord, and every one of your armed men crosses the Jordan before the Lord until he has driven his enemies from the presence, and the land is subdued before the Lord, afterward you may return and be free from obligation to the Lord and to Israel. And this land will belong to you as a possession before the Lord. But if you don't do this, you will certainly sin against the Lord. Be sure your sin will catch up with you. Build cities for your dependents and pens for your flocks, but do what you have promised. The Gadites and the Reubenites answered Moses, your servants will do just as my Lord commands. Our dependents, wives, livestock, and all our animals will remain here in the city of Gilead, but your servants are equipped for war before the Lord and will go across the battle as my Lord orders. So Moses gave orders about them to the priest Eleazar, Joshua the son of Nun, and the family heads of the Israelite tribes. Moses told them, if the Gadites, Reubenites cross the Jordan with you, every man in battle formation before the Lord, and the land is subdued before you, you are to give them the land of Gilead as possession. But if they don't go across with you into battle formation, they must accept the land in Canaan with you. The Gadites, the Reubenites replied, what the Lord has spoken to your servants is what we will do. We will cross over into battle formation before the Lord and into the land of Canaan, but we will keep our heredity possessions across the Jordan. So Moses gave them, the Gadites, Reubenites, and the half-tribe of Manasseh, son of Joseph, the kingdom of the king of Zion, the Amorites, and the kingdom of the king of Og of Bashan, the land including its cities with the territory surrounding them. The Gadites rebuilt Dibon, Adaroth, Shophan, Jazer, Jogbeah, Beth Nimrah, and the Beth Haran as fortified cities and built sheep pens. Reubenites rebuilt Heshbon, Eliah, Kirathim, as well as Nebo and Baal Meon, whose names were changed, and Sibmah. They gave the names to the cities they rebuilt. The descendants of Machir, the son of Manasseh, went to Gilead and captured it and drove out the Amorites who were there. So Moses gave Gilead to the clan of Machir and the son of Manasseh, and they settled in it. Jair, a descendant of Manasseh, went and captured their villages, which he renamed Jair's village. Noba went and captured Kenath with its surrounding villages and called it Noba after his own name. Numbers chapter 33. These were the stages of the Israelites' journey when they went out of the land of Egypt by their military divisions under the leadership of Moses and Aaron. At the Lord's command, Moses wrote down the starting points for the stages of their journey. These are the stages listed by their starting points. They traveled from Ramses in the first month on the 15th day of the month. On the day after the Passover, the Israelites went out definitely into the sight of all the Egyptians. Meanwhile, the Egyptians were burying every firstborn male the Lord had struck down among them, for the Lord had executed the judgment against their gods. The Israelites traveled from Ramses and camped at Succoth. They traveled from Succoth and camped at Etham, which is on the edge of the wilderness. They traveled from Etham and turned back to Pi-Haroth, which faces Baal-Zephon, and they camped before Migdal. They traveled from Pi-Haroth and crossed through the middle of the sea into the wilderness. They took a 3 days journey into the wilderness of Etham and camped at Marah. They traveled from Marah and came to Elim. There were 12 springs and 70 date palms at Elim, so they camped there. They traveled from Elim and camped by the Red Sea. They traveled from the Red Sea and camped in the wilderness of Sin. They traveled from the wilderness of Sin and camped in Dophkah. They traveled from Dophkah and camped at Elush. They traveled from Elush and camped at Rephidim, where there was no water for the people to drink. They traveled from Rephidim and camped in the wilderness of Sinai. They traveled from the wilderness of Sinai and camped at Kibroth Hattaavah. They traveled from Kibroth Hattaavah and camped at Hazeroth. They traveled from Hazeroth and camped at Rithmah. They traveled from Rithmah and camped at Rimmon Perez. They traveled from Rimmon Perez and camped at Libnah. They traveled from Libnah and camped at Rissah. They traveled from Rissah and camped at Kehilahath. They traveled from Kehilahath and camped at Mount Shepher. They traveled from Mount Shepher and camped at Heridah. They traveled from Heridah and camped at Mekaloth. They traveled from Mekaloth and camped at Tahath. They traveled from Tahath and camped at Terah. They traveled from Terah and camped at Mithkah. They traveled from Mithkah and camped at Hashemanah. They traveled from Hashemanah and camped at Mazeroth. They traveled from Mazeroth and camped at Bina Jakin. And they traveled from Bina Jakin and camped at Horah-Hagdah. They traveled from Horah-Hagdah and camped at Jotbathah. They traveled from Jotbathah and camped at Abranah. They traveled from Abranah and camped at Ezion-Geber. They traveled from Ezion-Geber and camped in the wilderness of Zin, that is Kadesh. They traveled from Kadesh and camped at Mount Hor on the edge of the land of Edom. At the Lord's command, the priest Aaron climbed Mount Hor and died there on the first day of the 5th month in the 40th year of the Israelites went into the land of Egypt. Aaron was 123-year-old when he died on Mount Hor. At that time, the Canaanite king of Arad, who lived in Negev and in the land of Canaan, heard the Israelites were coming. They traveled from Mount Hor and camped at Zalmanah. They traveled from Zalmanah and camped at Punah. They traveled from Punon and camped at Oboth. They traveled from Oboth and camped in Ir Abram on the border of Moab. They traveled from Ion and camped at Dibon-Gad. They traveled from Dibon-Gad and camped at Almon-Dibbalam. They traveled from Almon-Dibbalam and camped in Abarim range facing Nebo. They traveled from Abarim range and camped on the plains of Moab by the Jordan across from Jericho. They camped from the Jordan from Beth Jemeshoth to Achaia Meadow on the plains of Moab. The Lord spoke to Moses in the plains of Moab by the Jordan across from Jericho. Tell the Israelites, when you cross the Jordan into the land of Canaan, you must drive out the inhabitants of the land before you and destroy all the stone and images and cast images and demolish all the high places. You are to take possession of the land and settle in it because I have given you the land to possess. You are to receive the land as an inheritance and a lot according to your clans. Increase the inheritance for a large clan and decrease it for a small one. Whatever you place the lot indicates for someone will be his. You will receive an inheritance according to your ancestral tribes. But if you don't drive out the inhabitants of the land before you, those you allow to remain will become barbs for your eyes and thorns for your sides. They will harass you in the land where you live, and what I have planned to do with them, I will do to you. Numbers chapter 34. The Lord spoke to Moses, command the Israelites and say to them, when you enter the land of Canaan, it will be allotted to you as an inheritance with these borders. Your southern side will be from the wilderness of Zin along the boundary of Edom. Your southern border on the east will begin at the east and the Dead Sea. Your border will turn south of the Scorpions and Accent, proceed to Zin, and in the south of Kadesh Barnea, it will go to Hazar Adar and proceed to Asmon. The border will turn from Asmon to the brook of Egypt, where it will end at the Mediterranean Sea. Your western border will be the coastline of the Mediterranean Sea. This will be your western border. This will be your northern border. From the Mediterranean Sea, draw a line to Mount Hor. From Mount Hor, draw a line to the entrance of Hamath, and the border will reach Zedad. Then the border will go to Zephron and the end of Hazar Enan. This will be your northern border. For your eastern border, draw a line from Hazar Enan to Shephan. The border will go down to Shephan to Riblah east of An. It will continue down and reach the eastern slope of the Sea of Shinneroth. Then the border will go down to the Jordan and end at the Dead Sea. This will be your land, defined by its borders on its sides. So Moses commanded the Israelites, "This is the land you are to receive by the lot as an inheritance, which the Lord commanded to be given to the 9.5 tribes. The tribe of Reuben's descendants, the tribe of Gad descendants have received their inheritance according to their ancestral families. Half the tribe of Manasseh has received its inheritance. The 2.5 tribes have received their inheritance across the Jordan east of Jericho towards the sunrise." The Lord spoke to Moses, "These are the names of the men who are distributed to the land of the inheritance for you. The priest Eleazar, Joshua the son of Nun. Take one of the leaders from each tribe to distribute to the land. These are the names of the men: Caleb son of Jephunneh from the tribe of Judah, Shemuel son of Ammihud from the tribe of Simeon's descendants, Eliad son of Chislon from the tribe of Benjamin, Buki son of Jogli, a leader from the tribe of Dan's descendants from the sons of Joseph, Hanil son of Ephod, a leader from the tribe of Manasseh's descendants, Kemuel son of Shiftan, a leader from the tribe of Ephraim's descendants, Elizaphon son of Panak, a leader from the tribe of Zebulun's descendants, Patil son of Azan, the leader of the tribe of Issachar's descendants, Ahihud son of Shelemai, a leader from the tribe of Asher's descendants, Padil son of Ammihud, a leader from the tribe of Naphtali's descendants. These are the ones the Lord commanded to distribute the inheritance to the Israelites in the land of Canaan.
Numbers chapter 35. The Lord again spoke to Moses in the plains of Moab by the Jordan across from Jericho. Command the Israelites to give out of their hereditary property for the Levites to live in and pasture land around the cities. The cities will be for them to live in, and the pasture lands will be for their herds, flocks, and all their other animals. The pasture lands of the cities you are to give the Levites will extend from the city wall 500 yards on every side. Measure 1,000 yards outside the city for the east side, 1,000 yards for the south side, 1,000 yards for the west side, and 1,000 yards for the north side, with the city in the center. This will belong to them as pasture lands for the cities. The cities you give the Levites will include 6 cities of refuge, which you will provide so that the one who kills someone may flee there. In addition to these, give 42 other cities. The total number of cities you give the Levites will be 48, along with their pasture lands. Of the cities that you give from the Israelites' territory, you should take more from a larger tribe and less from a smaller one. Each tribe is to give some of its cities to the Levites in proportion to the inheritance it receives. The Lord said to Moses, "Speak to the Israelites and tell them, when you cross the Jordan into the land of Canaan, designate cities to serve as cities of refuge for you, so the person who kills someone unintentionally may flee there. You will have the cities as a refuge from the avenger, so the one who kills someone will not die until he stands trial before the assembly. The cities you select will be your 6 cities of refuge. Select 3 cities across the Jordan and 3 cities in the land of Canaan to be cities of refuge. These 6 cities will serve as a refuge for the Israelites and for the alien or temporary resident among them, so that anyone who kills a person unintentionally may flee there. If anyone strikes a person with an iron object and death results, he is a murderer. The murderer must be put to death. If anyone has in his hand a stone capable of causing death and strikes another person and he dies, the murderer must be put to death. If anyone has in his hand a wooden object capable of causing death and strikes another person and he dies, the murderer must be put to death. The avenger of blood himself is to kill the murderer. When he finds him, he is to kill him. Likewise, if anyone in hatred pushes a person and throws an object at him with malicious intent and he dies, or if in hostility he strikes him with his hand and he dies, the one who struck him must be put to death. He is also a murderer. The avenger of blood is to kill the murderer when he finds him. But if anyone suddenly pushes a person without hostility or throws an object at him without malicious intent, or without looking drops a stone that could kill a person, he dies, but he was not his enemy and didn't intend to harm him, the assembly is to judge between the person who kills someone and the avenger of blood according to these ordinances. The assembly is to protect the one who kills someone from the avenger of blood. Then the assembly will return him to the city of refuge he fled to. He must live there until the death of the high priest who is anointed with the holy oil. If the one who kills someone ever goes outside the border of the city of refuge he fled to, and the avenger of blood finds him outside the border of his city of refuge and kills him, the avenger will not be guilty of bloodshed. For the one who killed a person was supposed to live in his city of refuge until the death of the high priest. Only after the death of the high priest may the one who has killed a person return to the land he possesses. These instructions will be a statutory ordinance for you throughout your generations wherever you live. If anyone kills a person, the murder is to be put to death based on the word of witnesses. But no one is to be put to death based on his testimony of one witness. You are not to accept a ransom for the life of someone who is guilty of murder. He must be put to death. Neither should you accept a ransom for the person who flees to a city of refuge, allowing him to return and live in the land before the death of the high priest. Do not defile the land where you live, for bloodshed defiles the land, and there can be no atonement for the land because of the blood that is shed on it, except by the blood of the person who shed it. Do not make the land unclean where you live and where I dwell, for I, the Lord, reside among the Israelites. Numbers 36. The family heads from the clan of descendants of Gilead, the son of Machir, son of Manasseh, who were from the clans of the sons of Joseph, approached and addressed Moses and the leaders who were heads of the Israelite families. They said, "The Lord commanded my Lord to give the land as an inheritance by lot to the Israelites. My Lord was further commanded by the Lord to give our brother Zelophehad's inheritance to his daughters. But if they marry any of the men from the other Israelite tribes, their inheritance will be taken away from our father's inheritance and added to that of the tribe into which they marry. Therefore, part of our allotted inheritance will be taken away. When the Jubilee comes for the Israelites, their inheritance will be added to that of the tribe into which they marry, and their inheritance will be taken away from the inheritance of our ancestral tribe." So Moses commanded the Israelites at the word of the Lord, "What the tribe of Joseph's descendants says is right. This is what the Lord has commanded concerning Zelophehad's daughters. They may marry anyone they like, provided they marry within a clan of their ancestral tribe. No inheritance belonging to the Israelites is to transfer from tribe to tribe, because each of the Israelites is to retain the inheritance of his ancestral tribe. Any daughter who possesses an inheritance from an Israelite tribe must marry someone from the clan of her ancestral tribe, so that each of the Israelites will possess the inheritance of his fathers. No inheritance is to transfer from one tribe to another, because each of the Israelite tribes is to retain its inheritance." The daughters of Zelophehad did as the Lord commanded Moses. Mahlah, Tirzah, Hoglah, Milcah, and Noah, the daughters of Zelophehad, married cousins on their father's side. They married men from the clans of the descendants of Manasseh, son of Joseph, and their inheritance remained within the tribe of their father's clan. These are the commands and ordinances the Lord commanded the Israelites through Moses in the plains of Moab by the Jordan across from Jericho. Deuteronomy chapter 1. These are the words spoke to all Israel across the Jordan in the wilderness, in the Arabah opposite Suf, between Paran and Tophel, Laban, Herzah, and Dizahaba. It is an 11-day journey from Horeb to Kadesh Barnea by the way of Mount Seir. In the 40th year, in the 11th month, on the first of the month, Moses told the Israelites everything the Lord had commanded him to say to them. This was after he had defeated King Sihon of the Amorites, who lived in Heshbon, and King Og of Bashan, who lived in Ashtaroth at Adari. Across the Jordan in the land of Moab, Moses began to explain his law, saying, "The Lord our God spoke to us at Horeb. You stayed at this mountain long enough. Resume your journey and go to the hill country of the Amorites and their neighbors in the Arabah, the hill country, Judean footholds, the Negev, and the seacoast, to the land of the Canaanites and to the Lebanon, as far as the great river, the Euphrates River. See, I have set the land before you. Enter and take possession of the land the Lord swore to give to your fathers Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and their future descendants. I said to you at that time, I can't bear the responsibility for you on my own. The Lord your God has so multiplied you that today you are as numerous as the stars of the sky. May the Lord, the God of your fathers, increase you 1,000 times more and bless you as he promised. But how can I bear your troubles, burdens, and disputes by myself? Appoint for yourselves wise, understanding, respected men from each of your tribes, and I'll make them your leaders." You replied to me, "What you propose to do is good." So I took the leaders of your tribes, wise and respectful men, and set them over you as leaders, commanders for thousands, hundreds, fifties, and tens, and officers for the tribes. I commanded your judges at that time, hear the cases between your brothers, and judge rightly between a man and his brother or his resident alien. Do not show partiality when deciding a case. Listen to small and great alike. Do not be intimidated by anyone, for judgment belongs to God. Bring me any case too difficult for you, and I will hear it. At the time I commanded you about all the things you were to do. We then set out from Horeb and went across all the great and terrible wilderness you saw on the way to the hill country of the Amorites, just as the Lord our God had commanded us. When we reached Kadesh Barnea, I said to you, "You've reached the hill country of the Amorites, which the Lord our God is giving us. See, the Lord your God has set the land before you. Go up and take possession of it as the Lord, the God of your fathers, has told you. Do not be afraid or discouraged." Then all of you approached me and said, "Let's send men ahead of us, so that they may explore the land for us and bring us back a report about the route we should go up and the cities we will come to." The plan seemed good to me, so I selected 12 men from among you, one man from each tribe. They left and went up into the hill country and came to the valley of Eshcol, scouting the land. They took some of the fruit from the land in their hands, carried it down to us, and brought us back a report. The land the Lord our God is giving us is good, but you were not willing to go up. You rebelled against the command of the Lord your God. You grumbled in your tents and said, "The Lord brought us out of the land of Egypt to hand us over to the Amorites in order to destroy us because he hates us. Where can we go? Our brothers have made us lose heart, saying, 'The people are larger and taller than we are. The cities are large, fortified to the heavens.' We also saw the descendants of the Anakim here. So I said to you, don't be terrified or afraid of them. The Lord your God who goes before you will fight for you, just as you saw him do for you in Egypt. And you saw in the wilderness how the Lord your God carried you as a man carries his son all along the way you traveled until you reached this place. But in spite of this, you did not trust the Lord your God, who went before you on the journey to seek out a place for you to camp. He went in the fire by night and in the cloud by day to guide you on the road you were to travel. When the Lord heard your words, he grew angry and swore an oath. None of these men in this evil generation will see the good land except I swore to give to your father, except Caleb the son of Jeshurun. He will see it, and I will give him the descendants the land on which he has set foot, because he remained loyal to the Lord. The Lord was angry with me also because of you, and said, you will not enter there either. Joshua son of Nun, who attends you, will enter it. Encourage him, for he will enable Israel to inherit it. Your children, whom you said will be plundered, your sons who don't yet know good from evil, will enter there. I will give them the land, they will take possession of it. But you are to turn back and head for the wilderness by the way of the Red Sea. You answer me, we have sinned against the Lord. We will go up and fight just as the Lord our God commanded us. Then each of you put on his weapons of war and thought it would be easy to go up into the hill country. But the Lord said to me, tell them, don't go up and fight, for I am not with you to keep you from being defeated by your enemies. So I spoke to you, but you didn't listen. You rebelled against the Lord's command and defiantly went up into the hill country. Then the Amorites who lived there came out against you and chased you like a swarm of bees. They routed you from Seir as far as Hormah. When you returned, you wept before the Lord, but he didn't listen to your request or pay attention to you. For this reason, you stayed in Kadesh as long as you did. Then we turned back and headed, Deuteronomy chapter 2. Then we turned back and headed for the wilderness by the way of the Red Sea, as the Lord had told me, and we traveled around the hill country of Seir for many days. The Lord then said to me, you've been traveling around this hill country long enough. Turn north. Command the people, you're about to travel through the territory of your brothers, the descendants of Esau who live in Seir. They will be afraid of you, so be very careful. Don't provoke them, for I will not give you any of their land, not even a foot of it, because I have given Esau the hill country of Seir as his possession. You may purchase food from them, so that you may eat and buy water from them to drink, for the Lord your God has blessed you in all the work of your hands. He has watched over your journey through his immense wilderness. The Lord your God has been with you this past 40 years, and you have lacked nothing. So we bypassed our brothers, the descendants of Esau who live in Seir. We turned away from the Arabah road and from Elath and Ezion-Geber. We traveled along the road to the wilderness of Moab, and the Lord said to me, show no hostility toward Moab, and do not provoke them to battle, for I will not give you any of their land as possession, since I have given it as a possession to the descendants of Lot. Then Eman, a great and numerous people, as tall as the Anakim, who had previously lived there, they were also regarded as Rephaim, like the Anakim, though the Moabites called them Emim. The Horites had previously lived in Seir, but the descendants of Esau drove them out, destroying them completely and settling in their place, just as Israel did in the land of the possession the Lord gave them. The Lord said, now get up and cross the Zered Valley. So we crossed the Zered Valley. The time we spent traveling from Kadesh Barnea until we crossed the Zered Valley was 38 years, until the entire generation of fighting men had perished from the camp, as the Lord had sworn to them. Indeed, the Lord's hand was against them, to eliminate them from the camp till they had all perished. When all the fighting men had died among the people, the Lord spoke to me, today you are going to cross the border of Moab at Ar. When you get close to the Ammonites, don't show any hostility to them or provoke them, for I will not give you any of the Ammonites' land as possession. I have given it as possession to the descendants of Lot. This too used to be regarded as the land of Rephaim. The Rephaim lived there previously, though the Ammonites called them Zamzummim. So a great and numerous people, tall as the Anakim, the Lord destroyed the Rephaim at the advance of the Ammonites, so that they drove them out and settled in their place. This was just as he had done for the descendants of Esau who lived in Seir, when he destroyed the Horites before them. They drove them out and have lived in their place until now. The Caphtorim, who came from Caphtor, destroyed the Avites, who lived in the villages as far as Gaza, and settled in their place. The Lord also said, get up and move out. Cross the Arnon Valley. See, I have handed the Amorites King Sihon of Heshbon and his land over to you. Begin to take possession of it. Engage him in battle. Today I will begin to put the fear and dread of you on the peoples everywhere under heaven. They will hear the report about you, tremble and be in anguish because of you. So I sent messengers with an offer of peace to King Sihon of Heshbon from the wilderness of Kemah, saying, let us travel through your land. We will keep strictly to the highway. We will not turn to the right or the left. You can sell us food in exchange for silver so we may eat, and give us water for silver so we may drink. Only let us travel through on foot, just as the descendants of Esau who live in Seir did for us, and the Moabites who live in Ar, until we cross the Jordan to the land the Lord our God is giving us. But King Shihon of Heshbon would not let us travel through this land, for the Lord your God had made his spirit stubborn and his heart obstinate in order to hand him over to you, as has now taken place. The Lord said to me, See, I have begun to give Shihon and his land to you. Begin to take possession of it. So Sihon and his whole army came out against us for battle at Jahaz. The Lord our God handed him over to us, and we defeated him, his sons and his whole army. At that time, we captured all his cities and completely destroyed the people of every city, including the women and children. We left no survivors. We took only the livestock and the spoil from the cities we captured as plunder for ourselves. There was no city that was inaccessible to us, from Aroer to the rim, on the rim of the Arnon Valley, along with the city in the valley, even as far as Gilead. The Lord our God gave everything to us, but you did not go near the Amorites' land, all along the bank of the Jabbok River, the cities of the hill country, any place that the Lord our God had forbidden. Deuteronomy chapter 3. Then we turned and went up the road to Bashan, and King Og of Bashan came out against us with his whole army to do battle at Adari. But the Lord said to me, Do not fear him, for I have handed him over to you along with his whole army and his land. Do to him as you did to King Shihon of the Amorites, who lived in Heshbon. So the Lord our God also handed over King Og of Bashan and his whole army to us. We struck him until there was no survivor left. We captured all his cities at the time. There wasn't a city that we didn't take from them. 60 cities, the entire region of Argob, the kingdom of Og and Bashan. All these were fortified with high walls, gates, and bars, and besides a large number of rural villages. We completely destroyed them, as we had done to King Shihon of Heshbon, destroying the men, women, and children of every city. But we took all their livestock and their spoil from the cities as plundered for ourselves. At the time, we took the land from the two Amorite kings across the Jordan from the Arnon Valley as far as Mount Hermon, which the Sidonians call Sirion, but the Amorites call Senon. All the cities of the plateau, Gilead and Bashan, as far as Salcah and Edrei, cities of Og's kingdom in Bashan. Only King Og of Bashan was left on the remnant of Rephaim. His bed was made of iron. Isn't it in Rabbah of the Ammonites? It is 13.5 feet long and 6 feet wide by a standard measure. At that time, we took possession of this land. I gave the Reubenites and Gadites the area extending from Arar by the Arnon Valley and half the hill country of Gilead along with the cities. I gave to half the tribe of Manasseh the rest of Gilead and all Bashan, the king of Og. The entire region of Argob, the whole territory of Bashan, used to be called the land of the Rephaim. Jair, a descendant of Manasseh, took over the entire region of Argob as far as the border of the Jeshurites and Maccathites. He called Bashan by his own name, Jair's villages, as it is today. I gave Gilead to Machir, and I gave to the Reubenites and the Gadites the area extending from Gilead to the Arnon Valley. The middle of the valley was the border, and up to the Jabbok River, the border of the Ammonites. The Arabah and Jordan are also borders from Chinnereth, as far as the sea of the Arabah, the Dead Sea, under the slopes of Pisgah on the east. I commanded you at that time, the Lord your God has given you this land to possess. All your valiant men will cross over in battle formation ahead of your brothers the Israelites. But your wives, dependents, and livestock, I know that you have a lot of livestock, will remain in the cities I have given you, until the Lord gives rest to your brothers as he gives to you. And they also take possession of the land the Lord your God is giving them across the Jordan. Then each of you may return to his possession that I have given you. I commanded Joshua at that time, Your own eyes have seen everything the Lord your God has done to these two kings. The kingdoms will do the same to all the Lord will do the same to all the kingdoms you are about to enter. Don't be afraid of them, for the Lord your God fights for you. At that time I begged the Lord, Lord God, you have begun to show your greatness and your strong hand to your servant. For what God is there in heaven or on earth who can perform deeds and mighty acts like yours? Please let me cross over and see the beautiful land on the other side of the Jordan, the good hill country in Lebanon. But the Lord was angry with me because of you and would not listen to me. The Lord said to me, That's enough. Do not speak to me again about this matter. Go to the top of Pisgah and look to the west, north, south, and east, and see it with your own eyes, for you will not cross the Jordan. But commission Joshua, encourage and strengthen him, for he will cross over ahead of the people and enable them to inherit this land that you will see. So we stayed in the valley facing Beth Peor. Now, Israel, listen to the statutes and ordinances I'm teaching you to follow, so you may live, enter, and take possession of the land the Lord, the God of your fathers, has given you. You must not add anything to what I command you or take anything away from it, so that you may keep the commands of the Lord your God I am giving you. Your eyes have seen what the Lord did at Baal Peor. For the Lord your God destroyed every one of you who followed Baal Peor. But you, who have remained faithful to the Lord your God, are all alive today. Look, I have taught you statutes and ordinances as the Lord my God has commanded me, so that you may follow them in the land you are entering to possess. Carefully follow them, for this will show your wisdom and understanding in the eyes of the peoples. When they hear about all these statutes, they will say, This great nation is indeed a wise and understanding people. For what great nation is there that has a God near to it, as the Lord our God is to us whenever we call to him? And what great nation has righteous statutes and ordinances like this entire law set before you today? Only be on your guard and diligently watch yourselves so that you don't forget the things your eyes have seen and so that they don't slip from your mind as long as you live. Teach them to your children and your grandchildren. The day you stood before the Lord your God at Horeb, the Lord said to me, assemble the people before me, and I will let them hear my words, so they may listen, so that they may learn to fear me all the days they live on the earth, and may instruct their children. You came near and stood at the base of the mountain, a mountain blazing with fire into the heavens and enveloped in a totally black cloud. The Lord spoke to you from the fire. You kept hearing the sound of the words, but didn't see a form. There was only a voice. He declared his covenant to you. He commanded you to follow the 10 Commandments, which he wrote on 2 stone tablets. At that time, the Lord commanded me to teach you statutes and ordinances for you to follow in the land you are about to cross into and possess. Diligently watch yourselves, because you did not see any form on the day the Lord spoke to you out of the fire at Horeb, so you don't act corruptly and make an idol for yourselves in the shape of any figure, a male or female form, or the form of any animal on the earth, any winged creature that flies in the sky, any creature that crawls on the ground, or any fish in the waters under the earth. When you look to the heavens and see the sun, moon, and stars, all the stars in the sky, do not be led astray to bow and worship to them and serve them. The Lord your God has provided them for all the people everywhere under heaven. But the Lord selected you and brought you out of Egypt's iron furnace to be a people for his inheritance, as you are today. The Lord was angry with me on your account. He swore that I would not cross the Jordan and enter the good land the Lord your God is giving you as an inheritance. I won't be crossing the Jordan because I'm going to die in this land. But you're about to cross over and take possession of this good land. Be careful not to forget the covenant of the Lord your God that he made with you, and make an idol for yourselves and shape anything he has forbidden you. For the Lord your God is a consuming fire, a jealous God. When you have children and grandchildren and have been in the land a long time, and if you act corruptly, make an idol in the form of anything, and do what is evil in the sight of the Lord your God, angering him, I call heaven and earth as witnesses against you today that you will quickly perish on the land you're about to cross the Jordan to possess. You will not live there long, but you will certainly be destroyed. The Lord will scatter you among the peoples, and you will be reduced to a few survivors among the nations where the Lord your God will drive you. There you will worship man-made gods of wood and stone, which cannot see, hear, eat, or smell. But from there you will search for the Lord your God, and you will find him when you seek him with all your heart and all your soul. When you are in distress and all these things have happened to you, in the future you will return to the Lord your God and obey him. He will not leave you, destroy you, or forget the covenant with your fathers that he swore to them by oath, because the Lord your God is a compassionate God. Indeed, ask about the earlier days that preceded you, from the day of God created mankind on the earth, and from one end of the heavens to the other. Has anything like this great event ever happened? Or has anything like it been heard of? Has the people heard God's voice speaking from the fire as you have and lived? Or has a God attempted to go and take a nation as his own out of another nation by trials, signs, and wonders, and war, by a strong hand and outstretched arm, by great terrors, as the Lord your God did for you in Egypt before your eyes? You were shown these things so that you would know that the Lord is God. There is no other besides him. He let you hear his voice from heaven to instruct you. He showed you his great fire on earth, and you heard his words from the fire. Because he loved your fathers, he chose their descendants after them and brought you out of Egypt by his presence and great power, to drive out before you nations greater and stronger than you, and to bring you in and give you their land as an inheritance, as is now taking place. Today, recognize and keep in mind that the Lord is God in heaven above and on earth below. There is no other. Keep his statutes and commands, which I am giving you today, so that you and your children may after you may prosper, so that you may live long in the land the Lord your God is giving you for all time. Then Moses set apart 3 cities across the Jordan to the east. Someone could flee there who committed manslaughter, killing his neighbor accidentally without previously hating him. He could flee to one of these cities and stay alive. Bezer in the wilderness on the plateau land belonging to the Reubenites, Ramoth the Gilead belonging to the Gadites, or Golan and Bashan belonging to the Manassites. This is the law Moses gave the Israelites. These are the decrees, statutes, and ordinances Moses proclaimed to them after they came out of Egypt, across the Jordan, in the valley facing Beth-peor, in the land of King Sihon of the Amorites. He lived in Heshbon, and Moses and the Israelites defeated him after they came out of Egypt. They took possession of his land in the land of Og, king of Bashan, and the 2 Amorite kings who were across the Jordan to the east, from Arad on the rim of the Arnon Valley as far as Mount Sion, that is Hermon, and all the Arabah on the east side of the Jordan as far as the Dead Sea below the slopes of Pisgah. Deuteronomy chapter 5. Moses summoned all Israel and said to them, Israel, listen to the statutes and ordinances I'm proclaiming as you hear them today. Learn and follow them carefully. The Lord our God made a covenant with us at Horeb. He did not make this covenant with our fathers, but with us, with all of us who are alive here today. The Lord spoke to you face to face from the fire on the mountain. At that time, I was standing between the Lord and you to report the word of the Lord to you, because you were afraid of the fire and did not go up the mountain. And he said, I am the Lord your God who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the place of slavery. Do not have other gods besides me. Do not make an idol for yourself in the shape of anything in the heavens above, or on the earth below, or in the waters under the earth. Do not bow and worship to them, and do not serve them, because I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God, punishing the children for their father's iniquity to the third and fourth generation of those who hate me, but showing faithful love to 1,000 generations of those who love me and keep my commands. Do not misuse the name of the Lord your God, because the Lord will not leave anyone unpunished who misuses his name. Be careful to remember the Sabbath day, to keep it holy as the Lord your God has commanded you. You are to labor 6 days and do all your work, but the seventh day is a Sabbath to the Lord your God. Do not do any work, you, your son, or daughter, your male or female slave, your ox or donkey, or any of your livestock, or the resident alien who lives within your city gates, so that your male and female slaves may rest as you do. Remember that you were a slave in the land of Egypt, and the Lord your God brought you out of there with a strong hand and outstretched arm. That is why the Lord your God has commanded you to keep the Sabbath day. Honor your father and mother, as the Lord your God has commanded you, so that you may live long and so that you may prosper in the land the Lord your God is giving you. Do not murder, do not commit adultery, do not steal, do not give dishonest testimony against your neighbor. Do not covet your neighbor's wife or desire your neighbor's house, his field, his male or female slave, his ox or donkey, or anything that belongs to your neighbor. The Lord spoke these commands in a loud voice to your entire assembly from the fire, cloud, and total darkness on the mount. He had nothing more. He wrote them on 2 stone tablets and gave them to me. All of you approached me with your tribal leaders and elders when you heard the voice from the darkness, while the mountain was blazing with fire. You said, "Look, the Lord our God has shown us his glory and greatness, and we have heard his voice from the fire. Today we've seen that God speaks with a person, yet he still is. But now, why should we die? The great fire will consume us, and we will die if we hear the voice of our God any longer. For who out of all mankind has heard the voice of the living God speaking from the fire as we haven't lived? Go near and listen to everything the Lord our God says. Then you can tell us everything the Lord our God tells you, and we will listen and obey." The Lord heard your words when you spoke to me. He said to me, "I've heard the words that these people have spoken to you. Everything they have said is all right. If only they had such a heart to fear me and keep all my commands always, so that they and their children would prosper forever. Go and tell them, return to your tents, but you stand here with me, and I will tell you every command, the statute and ordinance you are to teach them, so that you may follow them in the land I'm giving them to possess. Be careful to do as the Lord your God has commanded you. You are not to turn aside to the right or the left. Follow the whole instruction the Lord your God has commanded you, so that you may live, prosper, and have a long life in the land you possess." Deuteronomy chapter 6. This is the command, the statutes and ordinances the Lord your God has commanded me to teach you, so that you may follow them in the land you are about to enter in the land, so you may follow them in the land you are about to enter and possess. Do this so that you may fear the Lord your God all the days of your life by keeping all his statutes and commands I am giving you, your son and your grandson, so that you may have a long life. Listen, Israel, and be careful to follow them, so that you may prosper and multiply greatly, because the Lord, the God of your fathers, has promised you a land flowing with milk and honey. Listen, Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your strength. These words that I am giving you today are to be in your heart. Repeat to your children. Talk about them when you sit in your house and when you walk along the road, when you lie down and when you get up. Bind them as a sign on your hand, and let them be a symbol on your forehead. Write them on the doorsteps of your house and on your city gates. When the Lord your God brings you into the land he swore to your fathers Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, that he would give you, a land with large and beautiful cities that you did not build, houses full of every good thing that you did not fill them with, cisterns that you did not dig, and vineyards and olive groves that you did not plant. And when you eat and are satisfied, be careful not to forget the Lord who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the place of slavery. Fear the Lord your God, worship him, take your oaths in his name. Do not follow other gods, the gods of the people around you, for the Lord your God who is among you is a jealous God. Otherwise the Lord your God will become angry with you and obliterate you from the face of the earth. Do not test the Lord your God as you tested him at Massah. Carefully observe the commands of the Lord your God, the decrees and statutes he has commanded you. Do what is right and good in the Lord's sight, so that you may prosper, and so that you may enter and possess the good land the Lord your God swore to give your fathers, by driving out all your enemies before you, as the Lord has said. When your son asks you in the future, what is the meaning of the decrees, statutes, and ordinances that the Lord our God has commanded you? Tell him, we were slaves of Pharaoh in Egypt, but the Lord brought us out of Egypt with a strong hand. Before our eyes, the Lord inflicted great and devastating signs and wonders on Egypt, on Pharaoh, and all his household. But he brought us from there in order to lead us in and give us the land that he swore to our fathers. The Lord commanded us to follow all these statutes and to fear the Lord our God for our prosperity always and for our preservation as it is today. Righteousness will be ours if we are careful to follow every one of these commands before the Lord our God as he has commanded us. Deuteronomy chapter 7. When the Lord your God brings you into the land you are entering to possess, and he drives out many nations before you, the Hittites, Girgashites, Amorites, Canaanites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites, 7 nations more numerous and powerful than you. And when the Lord your God delivers them over to you and you defeat them, you must completely destroy them. Make no treaty with them and show them no mercy. You must not intermarry with them, and you must not give your daughters to their sons or take their daughters for your sons, because they would turn your sons away from me to worship other gods. Then the Lord's anger will burn against you, and he will swiftly destroy you. Instead, this is what you are to do to them. Tear down their altars, smash their sacred pillars, cut down their Asherah poles, and burn their carved images. For you are a holy people belonging to the Lord your God. The Lord your God has chosen you to be his own possession out of all the peoples on the face of the earth. The Lord had his heart set on you and chose you, not because you were more numerous than all peoples, for you were the fewest of all peoples, but because the Lord loved you and kept the oath he swore to your fathers. He brought you out with a strong hand and redeemed you from the place of slavery, from the power of Pharaoh, king of Egypt. Know that the Lord your God is God, the faithful God who keeps his gracious covenant loyalty for 1,000 generations with those who love him and keep his commands. But he directly pays back and destroys those who hate him. He will not hesitate to pay back directly the one who hates him. So keep the command, the statutes and ordinances that I'm giving you to follow today. If you listen to and are careful to keep these ordinances, the Lord your God will keep his covenant loyalty with you, as he swore to your fathers. He will love you, bless you, and multiply you. He will bless your offspring and the produce of your land, your grain, new wine, and fresh oil, the young of your herds, and the newborn of your flocks, in the land he swore to your fathers that he would give you. You will be blessed above all people. There will be no infertile male or female among you or your livestock. The Lord will remove all sickness from you. He will not put on you all the terrible diseases of Egypt that you know about, but he will inflict them on all who hate you. You must destroy all the peoples the Lord your God is delivering over to you, and not look on them with pity. Do not worship their gods, for that will be a snare to you. If you say, these nations are greater than that, how can I drive them out? Do not be afraid of them. Be sure to remember what the Lord your God did to Pharaoh and all Egypt, the great trials that you saw, those signs and wonders, the strong hand, outstretched arm by which the Lord your God brought you out. The Lord your God will do the same to all the peoples you fear. The Lord your God will also send hornets against them until all the survivors and those hiding from you perish. Don't be terrified of them, for the Lord your God, a great and awesome God, is among you. The Lord your God will drive out these nations for you little by little. You will not be able to destroy them all at once, otherwise the wild animals become too numerous for you. The Lord your God will give them over to you and throw them into great confusion until they are destroyed. He will hand their kings over to you, and you will wipe out their names under the heaven. No one will be able to stand against you. You will annihilate them. Burn up the carved images of their gods. Don't covet the silver and gold on the images and take it for yourselves, or else you will be ensnared by it. For it is detestable to the Lord your God. Do not bring any detestable thing into your house, or you will be set apart for destruction like him. You will abhor and detest it utterly because it is set apart for destruction. Deuteronomy chapter 8. Carefully follow every command I am giving you today, so that you may live and increase, and may enter and take possession of the land the Lord swore to your fathers. Remember that the Lord your God led you on the entire journey these 40 years in the wilderness, so that he might humble you and test you to know what it was in your heart, whether or not you would keep his commands. He humbled you by letting you go hungry. Then he gave you manna to eat, which you and your fathers had not known, so that you might learn that man does not live on bread alone, but every word that comes from the mouth of the Lord. Your clothing did not wear out, and your feet did not swell these 40 years. Keep in mind the Lord your God has been disciplining you just as man disciplines his son. So keep the commands of the Lord your God by walking in his ways and fearing him, for the Lord your God is bringing you into a good land, a land with streams, springs, and deep water sources, flowing in both valleys and hills, a land of wheat, barley, vines, figs, and pomegranates, a land of olive oil and honey, a land where you will eat food without shortage, where you will lack nothing, a land whose rocks are iron, from whose hills you will mine copper. When you eat and are full, you will bless the Lord your God for the good land he has given you. Be careful that you don't forget the Lord your God by failing to keep his commands, ordinances, and statutes that I am giving you today. When you eat and are full and build beautiful houses to live in, and your herds and flocks grow large, and your silver and gold multiply, and everything else you have increases. Be careful that your heart doesn't become proud and you forget the Lord your God who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the place of slavery. He led you through the great and terrible wilderness with its poisonous snakes and scorpions, a thirsty land where there was no water. He brought water out of the flint rock for you. He fed you in the wilderness with manna, which your fathers had not known, in order to humble and test you, so that in the end he might cause you to prosper. You may say to yourself, my power and my own ability have gained this wealth for me. But remember that the Lord your God gives you the power to gain wealth in order to confirm his covenant and he swore to your fathers, as it is today. If you ever forget the Lord your God and follow other gods to serve them and bow and worship to them, I testify against you today that you will perish, like the nations the Lord is about to destroy before you. You will perish if you do not obey the Lord your God. Deuteronomy chapter 9. Listen, Israel, and today you're about to cross the Jordan and enter and drive out nations greater and stronger than you, with large cities fortified to the heavens. The people were strong and tall, the descendants of Anakim. And you know about them, and you have heard it said about them. Who can stand up to the sons of Anak? Well, understand that today the Lord your God will cross over ahead of you as a consuming fire. He will devastate and subdue them before you. You drive them out and destroy them swiftly, as the Lord has told you. When the Lord your God drives them out before you, do not say to yourself, the Lord brought me in to take possession of this land because of my righteousness. Instead, the Lord will drive out these nations before you because of their wickedness. You are not going to take possession of their land because of your righteousness or integrity. Instead, the Lord your God, the Lord your God will drive out these nations before you because of their wickedness, in order to fulfill the promise he swore to your fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Understand that the Lord your God is not giving you this land to possess because of your righteousness, for you are a stiff-necked people. Remember and do not forget how you provoked the Lord your God in the wilderness. You have been rebelling against the Lord from the day you left the land of Egypt until you reached this place. You provoked the Lord at Horeb, and he was angry enough with you to destroy you. When I went up the mountain to receive the stone tablets, the tablets of the covenant the Lord made with you, I stayed on the mountain 40 days and 40 nights. I did not eat food or drink water. On the day of the assembly, the Lord gave me the 2 stone tablets inscribed with God's finger. The exact words were on them which the Lord spoke to you from the fire on the mountain. The Lord gave me the 2 stone tablets, tablets of the covenant, at the end of the 40 days and 40 nights. So the Lord said to me, get up and go down immediately from here. For your people whom you brought out of Egypt have acted corruptly. They have quickly turned from the way that I commanded them. They have made a cast image for themselves. The Lord also said to me, I have seen this people, and indeed they are a stiff-necked people. Leave me alone, and I will destroy them and blot out their name under the heaven. Then I will make you into a nation stronger and more numerous than they. So we went back down the mountain while it was blazing with fire, and the 2 tablets of the covenant were in my hand. I saw how you would send the Lord your God, you had made a calf image for yourselves. You quickly turned from the way the Lord had commanded for you. So I took hold of the 2 stone tablets and threw them from my hands, shattering them before your eyes. I fell down like the first time in the presence of the Lord for 40 days and 40 nights. I did not eat food or drink water because of all the sin you committed, doing what was evil in the Lord's sight and angering him. I was afraid of the fierce anger the Lord had directed against you because he was about to destroy you. But again, the Lord listened to me on that occasion. The Lord was angry enough with Aaron to destroy him, but I prayed for Aaron at that time also. I took the sinful calf you had made and burned it. I crushed it thoroughly, grinding it to powder as fine as dust, then threw its dust into the stream that came down from the mountain. You continue to provoke the Lord at Taberah, Massa, and Kibroth Hattaavah. When the Lord sent you from Kadesh Barnea, he said, get up and possess the land I've given you, and rebel against the command of the Lord your God. You did not believe or obey him. You've been rebelling against the Lord ever since I have known you. I fell down in the presence of the Lord 40 days and 40 nights because the Lord had threatened to destroy you. I prayed the Lord, Lord God, do not annihilate your people, your inheritance, whom you redeemed through your greatness and brought out of Egypt with a strong hand. Remember your servants Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Disregard this people's stubbornness and their wickedness and sin. Otherwise, those in the land you brought us from will say, because the Lord wasn't able to bring them into the land he had promised them, and because he hated them, he brought them out to kill them in the wilderness. But they are your people, your inheritance, whom you brought out by your great power and outstretched arm. Deuteronomy chapter 10. The Lord said to me at that time, cut 2 stone tablets like the first one, and come to me on the mountain and make a wooden ark. I will write on the tablets the words that were on the first tablets you broke, and you are to place them in the ark. So I made an ark of acacia wood, cut 2 stone tablets like the first ones, and climbed the mountain, with the 2 tablets in my hands. Then on the day of the assembly, the Lord wrote on the tablets what had been written previously, the 10 commandments that he had spoken to you on the mountain from the fire. The Lord gave them to me, and I went back down the mountain, placed the tablets in the ark I had made, and they have remained there as the Lord commanded me. The Israelites traveled from Bereth Benekjakan to Moserah. Aaron died and was buried there. Eleazar his son became priest in his place. They traveled there from Gudgodah to Jotbatten, a land with flowing streams. At that time, the Lord set apart the tribe of Levi to carry the ark of the Lord's covenants, to stand before the Lord to serve him, and to pronounce blessings in his names as it is today. For this reason, Levi does not have a portion of inheritance by his brothers. The Lord is his inheritance, as the Lord your God told him. I stayed on the mountain 40 days and 40 nights like the first time. The Lord also listened to me on this occasion. He agreed not to annihilate you. Then the Lord said to me, get up, continue your journey ahead of the people, so they may enter and possess the land I swore to give to their fathers. And now, Israel, what does the Lord your God ask of you, except to fear the Lord your God by walking all his ways, to love him, and to worship the Lord your God with all your heart and all your soul? Keep the Lord's commands and statutes I am giving you today for your own good. The heavens, and indeed the highest heavens, belong to the Lord your God, as does the earth and everything in it. Yet the Lord had his heart set on your fathers and loved them. He chose their descendants after them. He chose you out of all the peoples as it is today. Therefore, circumcise your hearts and don't be stiff-necked any longer. For the Lord your God is the God of gods and Lord of lords, the great and mighty and awe-inspiring God. Show no partiality in taking no bribe. He executes justice for the fatherless and the widow, and loves the resident alien, giving him food and clothing. You are also to love the resident alien, since you were resident aliens in the land of Egypt. You are to fear the Lord your God and worship him. Remain faithful to him and take oaths in his name. He is your praise, and he is your God, who has done for you these great and awe-inspiring works your eyes have seen. Your fathers went down to Egypt, and 70 people in all, and now the Lord your God has made you numerous like the stars in the sky.